I'm ready to roll. So let's do it. So good evening, everyone, and welcome. I am Jane Shapiro, Chair of the Steering Committee of 100+ Women Who Care, Cheshire County, and welcome to the 19th meeting of our chapter of 100+ Women Who Care. I'd like to welcome by name those who have joined either at or since our last meeting. Drew Fox, Frances Himmelberg, Carmela Azzaro, Pan Weinreeb, Pamela Buys, Trish Halpin, and BJ Haywood. As of late this afternoon, 100+ Women Who Care Cheshire County is a giving circle of 307 members, which is just fabulous. Additionally, I know that we have some guests this evening, so a special welcome to you. Let me remind you that this format is a Zoom webinar, which is slightly different than the Zoom meetings you may have gotten used to over the last months and even year and a half. You are the audience, and as such, you do not see or hear, we do not see or hear you, nor can you see or hear each other, but you can communicate with us by way of the chat function. And if you move your cursor down to the bottom of your screen, if you're on a computer, you'll see a little bubble that says chat. And if you click on that and type and then hit enter, we will see a message from you. If you have a technical question, you can ask it at any time through that chat function, and Brett or Courtney will respond to you. When it is time for one of our nominators to present, you will see her and hear her on your screen. You can submit your questions regarding her organization with the chat function as well. Courtney and Brett will be monitoring the chat during the question and answer time, and will read the questions for all to hear, so you don't have to kind of follow that on your own. After all three presentations, a poll will magically appear on your screen. If you are a member, simply check your choice and submit the poll. Don't forget to hit submit. And we will be able to announce the chosen organization at the end of this virtual meeting, just like we always do. If you are a guest, we just ask that you please do not complete the poll, as only members are allowed to vote. I would like to acknowledge the work done by the steering committee, which continues to meet safely, keeping our group running smoothly, dealing compassionately and capably with bumps in the road, and especially thank Courtney Fougere, whose dedication and technological expertise enables our group to continue our work on this platform. Thank you, Courtney. Last month, we had to say goodbye to Rhonda Lake, who was a steering committee member, and wish her well on her move to Maine. Though we were really, really sorry to see her go, we were really happy to welcome Mary Delisle to the steering committee. In addition to Courtney and Mary, I'd like to thank Brett Thielen, Lisa Marr, Judith Putzel, and Bridget Hansel. The steering committee had so hoped that at this meeting we might be greeting each other in person. We spent a long while over 2 meetings discussing that possibility, but ultimately both concern for the safety of our membership and the challenges presented by the logistics of a hybrid meeting led us to the decision to meet in this webinar format once again. We very, very much appreciate your continued enthusiasm for our mission, willingness to continue to participate in this virtual platform, and your suggestions and encouraging messages. One suggestion recently came from Susan Johnston, and I quote, "Jane, just wanted to let you know I'm enjoying being a part of 100+ Women Who Care. Although I've lived in Cheshire County for a number of years, it was not until I became a Keene resident and a member of this group that I realized the number of organizations that improve the quality of life to so many of in our community. It's rewarding to see that our donations can help them succeed. As I learn more about these organizations, my goal is to begin volunteer work. I suggest it may be useful for the chosen charity to discuss both the impact of our donation and the opportunity to volunteer at their organization. I'm looking forward to meeting new friends, hopefully as normal meetings resume in November. Thank you, Sue Johnston." And thank you, Sue, for that great feedback. This is the time when every meeting where I give you 6 reminders, and I really appreciate the patience of those members who attend every meeting, because I know this is repetitive. But believe me, these issues and questions continue to come up for us in between each and every single meeting, even sometimes from longtime members. So number 1, please use our website as a source of information about our donations and how we work. Brett does a wonderful job of keeping the website and our Facebook page up to date. She will have this meeting's news posted as soon as possible. If you're a guest and after this meeting you decide you'd like to join us, you will find the commitment form on our website. Simply fill it out and either mail it, snail mail, or send it by email to the email address that you find right there on the website, which is 100+Women CheshireCounty.com. Number 2, a reminder that you can put November and all of 2022's meetings on your calendar right now. We always meet the first Monday of February, May, August, and November. So our next meeting is Monday, November 1st. Number 3, we are part of a network of over 700 chapters all over the US and at least 10 other countries as well. Our chapter's name is 100+ Women Who Care Cheshire County. We have a sister chapter in the Peterborough area whose name is 100+ Women Who Care Monadnock. When our members see articles in the paper, it can be confusing. Just remember, we are Cheshire County. Number 4, only members can submit nominations, and only members can present a nomination at a meeting. Again, nomination instructions are on the website. Nominators can invite a non-100+ member from their organization to join them during the Q&A portion of their presentation, and that's going to happen this evening. Number 5, making your donations online is an option for members when it is available through the chosen organization. In May, over 70 of our members donated that way. And I'll give you more detailed instructions before I announce the name of our chosen organization. Number 6, if you do send a check, do not make your check out to 100+ Women Who Care. It must be made out directly to the chosen organization, and that will appear on your screen before we end the meeting tonight. It will also be listed on our Facebook page and our website very shortly after, or well, certainly by tomorrow morning. I won't say tonight for sure, but certainly by tomorrow morning. And I emphasize that getting those checks in right away really, really, really makes our work easier and enables the chosen organization to put your donation to work sooner. This is the part where we get a drum roll. I'm very pleased to report that we just set a new quarterly record from our May meeting, giving $16,725 to Keene Housing Kids Collaborative, as well as $473 to the Apple Hill Center for Chamber Music and $875 to the Keene Senior Center, for a total of one quarter from one meeting of $18,073. That means that since our inception in November of 2016, we have given a total of $266,710 to 19 chosen organizations and an additional $14,981 to 27 organizations that were nominated but not chosen, for a grand total of $281,691. It is entirely possible, yay, I know, lots of clapping. It's entirely possible that we will top 300,000 this quarter as a result of this meeting. So just bear that in mind. I think that's just amazing. And so now for this evening's nominations. Each quarter we receive nominations of wonderful organizations and programs that serve our vulnerable citizens and animal friends, enrich our children and the entire community through the arts and through connection to the natural world around us, or strengthen our local safety nets and resources. I love that each and every time we have organizations nominated for the very first time. You will also note that several organizations have been nominated previously. Our policy is that a chosen organization needs to wait at least 2 years before they are nominated again. Organizations that present but are not chosen can be nominated at any time. And sometimes an organization that is chosen does wait that length of time. But if it's a large organization, it may be asking for funding for an entirely different program than it requested the first time. One of the many things that makes our group shine is that at each and every meeting, all of you arrive with your minds and hearts open, anxious to learn which 3 organizations were chosen to present, to listen carefully to the presenters, and make your choice for the one that you would like to receive this quarter's donation, and then celebrate that organization that is chosen. We received 6 nominations for this evening's consideration, and I will read them now. The Winchester Trail Riders, submitted by Maureen Curtis. Winchester Trail Riders provides trail access for the public and seeks funding for trail maintenance on the Ashwheelet Rail Trail. Number 2, the Monadnock Humane Society, nominated by Kathy Collinsworth. Monadnock Humane Society cares for stray and surrendered animals, assists with cruelty, helps financially challenged community members through our pet food pantry program, and more, and is seeking funding for our Animal Safety Net program. Number 3, the Keene Health Center of Planned Parenthood of Northern New England, nominated by Judy Putnam and Annie Faulkner. The Keene Health Center of Planned Parenthood provides reproductive and sexual health care for uninsured and underinsured patients. The funding requested will address the $123,000 shortfall created in the recently passed state budget. Number 4, Project Home, nominated by Susan Hay and Jennifer Kiernan. Project Home provides a community-based alternative to detention for asylum seekers seeking safe harbor at our borders. Asylum seekers live with host families while preparing and presenting their case, and we help them become independent community members. Number 5, the Cheshire Children's Museum, nominated by Deb Ganley. Cheshire Children's Museums for All, which provides hands-on educational experiences for children through the power of play, seeks funding for the continuation and expansion of social service agency outreach, allowing all children access to the museum. And Cheshire Medical Center, nominated by Catherine Richardson. Cheshire Medical seeks your support to purchase vital vision screening equipment for our very young patients in the pediatrics department. Unlike in our in-person meetings, where we select the 3 organizations to present right in front of you at the meeting, we've done that in advance in order to be sure that the technology works for all of our presenters and that this evening's meeting will run smoothly. So our selected 3 organizations for this evening are Keene Health Center of Planned Parenthood of Northern New England, Monadnock Humane Society, and Cheshire Children's Museum. We look forward to hearing from all 3. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Judy Putnam and Annie Faulkner from the Keene Health Center of Planned Parenthood. And at the Q&A time, they will be joined by Lissa Lucius, who's the Assistant Site Manager of the Keene Health Center, and Ella Kruczynski, the New Hampshire Philanthropy Officer for Planned Parenthood of Northern New England's development team. Sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Anyway, welcome, Annie and Judy. Take it away.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Jane, and 100+Women for giving us this opportunity.
There's an audio problem.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Feel free to start again, Judy.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jane and 100+Women for giving us this opportunity. And thanks to Lissa and Ella for being with us tonight. Planned Parenthood of Northern New England has been providing health care in Keene for 32 years and in Southwest New Hampshire for over 50 years. Tonight, we are asking you to support patient health care at the Keene Center, which includes birth control counseling, a wide array of birth control options, pregnancy tests, and emergency contraception, testing and treatment for STDs, preventive care through annual exams, breast and cervical cancer screenings and colposcopies, as well as screening and referral for HIV vaccination and intimate partner violence, men's sexual or reproductive services and symptom care, gender affirming hormone therapy for transgender and gender non-conforming patients, basic primary care, including vaccinations, screening for cholesterol, diabetes, hypertension, and obesity, and smoking cessation therapy. Funds from tonight will not pay for abortion services or care. The Keene Health Center provides all of these sexual and reproductive health care and primary care services to anyone who comes into their doors, regardless of their ability to pay. The recently passed New Hampshire state budget will cut $123,000 of funding that is used for patients to access these services at our local center. That's why we're asking for your help tonight. Last year, Planned Parenthood saw over 2,000 individual patients at the Keene Health Center, 2,000. Annie is now going to tell you about some of the people who depend on this care and how it improves their lives.
Thank you, Judy. So Planned Parenthood's center serves vulnerable members of our community. These include teenagers and young adults seeking care on their own for the first time, low-income, uninsured or underinsured patients, transgender and gender non-conforming individuals, and people struggling with addiction, domestic violence, or lack of housing. Many people who come to the center are frightened. They're afraid of pregnancy or STDs, afraid of somebody finding out something, or afraid of not affording the care they need. And the Keene Center is more than a family planning clinic. The staff provide care for the whole person and consider their patients' whole lives. The center educates patients and empowers them to make their own informed choices about their care. So imagine the teenager who received accurate and supportive sexual health information, the young adult who received emergency contraception or STD testing and treatment, the underinsured mother who wanted an IUD but didn't have a way to pay for it, the low-income worker who came to the center, got enrolled in Medicaid and received vaccination screenings and referrals, and the transgender patient who was really given autonomy over their healthcare. As Judy mentioned, each patient receives care regardless of ability to pay. The center uses a sliding scale and provides over $300 worth of free and or discounted care each year. And they continue to do this despite being denied federal funding in recent years. Finally, for those of us who find ourselves secure and insured, the Keene Health Center provides comprehensive sexual and reproductive health care and bills insurance, just like any other healthcare provider. I hope you will consider supporting this critical resource in our community. Thanks.
Thank you, Annie. So your gift would make a big impact in our community. For example, $15,000 could be used to pay for 34 pap tests and 25 IUD insertions, and 20 STD screening visits, and 16 birth control shots, and emergency contraception for 10 patients, and treatment for 5 urinary tract infections. Each of these services has a big impact on someone's life. As I mentioned, this grant will not cover abortion services, as that is paid for through separate Planned Parenthood funding. A grant of $15,000 would help the Keene Health Center make up for their loss of $123,000 in funding and give people the chance to obtain quality, essential health care at an affordable price, including free if necessary. Annie and I hope you will choose to support Planned Parenthood's Keene Health Center. Thank you again for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, Annie and Judy. And so now Courtney is going to bring on Ella and Lissa, and Courtney and Brett are going to monitor the questions that are coming in via our chat.
Yeah, so we had one that said, will all funds stay in Keene? And then is the 2,000 number of clients unique clients or repeats? And how does this number compare to the year before? And were your donations up last year over the year before? Sorry, that was all one from one person. You can go ahead, Ella, whenever you're ready. Oh, you're on mute, sorry.
Would you mind giving me the questions one at a time so I can help
Sure.
answer through them?
Will all funds stay in Keene?
Yes, all of the $15,000 will be paid for patient services at the Keene Health Center.
Is the 2,000 number of clients unique clients or repeats?
So in 2020, we saw 2,070 patients in our Keene Health Center individually, and that was over the course of 2,987 visits. So there's about almost 1,000 extra repeat visits.
How does this number compare to the year before?
This number is lower than the year before. During the pandemic, we had to limit space in our health centers in order to keep patients safe. So we saw less appointments than we normally would have. That number is closer in over 3,000 usually, and we saw that in 2018 and 2019.
And were your donations up last year over the year before?
That's kind of a hard thing to measure because donations can come from all kinds of sources. Some people give us planned gifts in their wills, and we received some very incredible planned gifts. But overall, our general funding, those small donations that come in, significantly went down last year. And we suspect that's probably because of the pandemic as well.
There's a question about how did the Keene Health Center adapt to the pandemic and continue serving patients?
Lisa, I'll let you answer that one.
Great, thank you. So we were able to adapt by reducing our schedule just to keep the community and our staff safe. Seeing fewer patients a day during the height of the pandemic was key, just keeping less people in the building. We got really creative and we're able to even see some of our patients in the parking lot so they didn't have to come inside. So we did everything that we could to reduce the amount of time that folks were in the health center while still providing.
Great. Do you anticipate greater demand for your services in the upcoming year?
Yes, absolutely. Lisa, go ahead. You can say so as well.
Yeah, so some of the services that we've seen an increase in are things that sometimes people will go to walk-in centers to receive care for. And because of the pandemic specifically, some people didn't want the exposure to a walk-in clinic where they're also doing COVID testing and things like that. So we've definitely seen a significant increase in certain types of services that we do.
What else will you find the $123,000 shortfall in order to fulfill your services to 2,000 residents? Where else will you find so I guess how else will you make up the $123,000 shortfall?
We are going to be reaching out to our current donor base and to try to talk to them about why the shortfall happened, why we have this gap in money, and ask people that way. We're also hoping we'll have more patients and see more revenue, but that's not hopeful coming out of the pandemic and still being careful about who we see in the health centers.
Okay, I think, Courtney, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay, how big is the catchment area? And where's the nearest clinic not in Keene run by Planned Parenthood?
So we are the only family planning provider in all of Cheshire County. If you needed those resources at all, you would actually have to come to Planned Parenthood unless you wanted to leave the county. There are 5 Planned Parenthoods across New Hampshire in Keene, Exeter, Derry, Manchester, and Claremont. And the Keene Health Center sees lots of patients. And Lissa, I'll let you share, I mean, from all over the country and all over the state and all over the county. So we see a huge number of patients who come in. Alyssa, do you want to add anything else on
Sure
that?
thing. Yeah. So we've seen patients, specifically even during the pandemic, that have come to the Keene Health Center from Massachusetts, Vermont, and New Hampshire. A lot of times, Planned Parenthood League of Massachusetts didn't have a lot of appointments, so we had a lot of people traveling quite some distances to come to our health center.
Great.
Great.
Thank
Awesome.
you
Thank you so
very
much.
much. All
Thank you
of you.
guys.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, I'm just moving everyone into the audience. That was our lovely panelists for now. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
And so our second presentation of the evening will be by Kathy Collinsworth, presenting for the Monadnock Humane Society.
Oh, and I think I just promoted a different person. Sorry, Kathy. Good grief. Moving you back into the audience. Sorry about
Her
that.
moment of fame.
Exactly. Here we go.
There's Kathy.
Yay. Let's see.
Here she is.
There you go. Good.
You guys ready?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Excellent. So I'm Kathy Collinsworth. I'm the executive of the Monadnock Humane Society. We've been in service for 146 years, and I'm here today to ask you for your help with the Animal Safety Net program. Our Animal Safety Net program started 4 years ago and was set up to help those fleeing domestic violence. We would provide free boarding and care for their animals until they could be safely reunited. Since then, we have expanded our services based on the demand related to homelessness and drug addiction. The domestic violence shelter, homeless shelters, and addiction treatment facilities do not allow pets, understandably so. Prior to ASN, a person may be forced to surrender their pet to us. For those of you who have pets, you know that they are family, and it could be devastating to have to surrender your family member because you're navigating challenging times in your life. Another sad reality is that a person may not even enter into services if they don't have a place for their pet. New Hampshire's opioid-related overdoses is still 3 times higher than the national rate. 50% of people in domestic violent relationship won't leave if they don't have a place for their pet to be. And 1 in 4 will go back if they have to leave the pet behind. Tragically, 87% of the battery happens in front of the children, and they really do deserve a safe place to lay their heads. Bottom line is ASN reduces the barriers that people face when they need to get help. It's no secret that homelessness is of greater concern with our current housing shortage, and certainly with the moratorium that was lifted yesterday. Kathy Moda, Program Director of MCVP, shared with me that affordable housing in Keene area has been a consistent issue for them, especially for survivors who may not have access to employment and are being subjected to financial abuse. Given the pandemic, that continues to be an issue, as well as finding available units, which is statewide. She states, now that the moratorium lifted, we may begin to see an uptick in calls of survivors being evicted. Since the program's inception, we have built partnerships with numerous social service programs in the region, such as Phoenix House, Monadnock Family Services, Monadnock Center for Violence Prevention, Southwest Community Services, City of Keene Social Services, 100 Nights, the Doorway Project, and more. This past winter, we had 2 strays brought to our shelter. Later that day, a homeless couple arrived on foot to reclaim their dogs. We told them about our ASM program to encourage them to get themselves and their dogs out of the frigid temperatures. The man insisted that they were fine and that they need their dogs to help them stay warm at night. We did send them with some food from our pet food pantry and bedding for their dogs. 1 week later, we were called by Keene Police to assist them with the same couple. The man had beaten the woman, and they needed us to take the dogs into our shelter so that she could flee the situation. Approximately 2 weeks later, after she secured safe housing, she reclaimed her dogs. Our ASM program has a 90% of reclaim rate from these families. I'm excited to also share that we received a $70,000 grant from 2 foundations to convert our very large garage into a designated ASN space. Previously, if a family wanted to come visit their animals, they had no privacy due to our space restrictions. Now we have brand new kennels with dog doors that go out into their own outdoor run. And there's a beautiful new living room space with privacy for people to spend time with their animals until they can be together in their own home again. This is also a space where they can meet with some therapy from the social service agencies that we partner with. The board at MHS is committed to doing our part in investing in ongoing and growing needs to improve the quality of life for our people and animals. We're currently hiring for an animal agent who will work side by side with local authorities to help those in need. When people think of Monadnock Humane Society, they more often than not picture the heartwarming adoptions of kittens and puppies, and that certainly happens. What many don't know is that MHS is often the first point of contact for those seeking social services. They no longer have to ask themselves, what am I going to do with my beloved pet if I try to get help? So I hope you can see what we started 4 years ago originally to help those fleeing domestic violence has grown and changed significantly. Our shelters statewide are already saying that the need for people to surrender their pets is up 15%, because sadly, not many animal shelters have the designated space like we do for ASN. Mindy Cambiar from 100 Nights shared the following. At 100 Nights, for the first time in 12 seasons of providing shelter and crisis services, there are families and individuals who've been in the shelter for more than a year. There's a true crisis in the availability of affordable units. We have dozens of guests who could afford a low-income apartment, but there just aren't any on the market. I'm not at all surprised that Monadnock Humane Society is experiencing longer caring times for the pets of people who are desperately trying to find housing. We are anticipating the same increase in needs for our services over the next year, and we're asking for your help to cover the costs related to the needs so that we can break down the barriers for people trying to get help that they desperately need to change their lives. I'm proud to be a part of this group, and I thank you all for the work that you do for local nonprofits and their critical work. Oh, and I meant to mention, MHS gets no state or federal funding, and we rely entirely on donations and grants to fulfill our vital mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yes, so we have questions coming in. If someone is unable to get their pet to MHS due to transportation issues, what do they do?
Yes, so we have had those situations arise, and we actually have vehicles that we can go and pick up the pet if they need that service. Depending on the situation, if it's domestic violence or other situations, we do request law enforcement to meet us there to do that safely. I will say that the van that we have used this for recently died, and we have 2 funders that have given us $25,000 towards a new van, and Fenton Family Dealerships is desperately trying to find us a new van with that funding, and they're willing to underwrite some of that as well.
What amount of funding has MHS received specifically for this program since its inception?
Yeah, so I'm happy to say that the seed money came from our group 4.5 years ago. It was $9,000. It was just a dream at that time. I had no idea what the demand of the services would be. And certainly, again, it was just domestic violence when I made this pitch. But really, the homelessness and drug addiction realities of our county and our region is the greater need. Although we do see domestic violence, as I shared, it's often a sort of multiple issues going on within one family. And we also received funding from 100+Women in Peterborough to designate towards that geography. And again, we do designate the funds specific to Cheshire County when we receive the funds. And we have donors that have fallen in love with this concept and have contributed. I would say to date in the 4 years, we've probably had about a total of probably $35,000.
Okay. What kind of care do you provide the animals while in your care?
Yeah, so when they come in, they have a variety of backgrounds, but we always provide a health check, vaccinations, food, shelter, microchip, spay neuter if that's needed. And we've had some circumstances where the animal needs a minor surgery. And we do all of that as part of their boarding and care.
What is the total budget for the safety net program?
The total budget specific for the animal safety net program is $75,000. And as you can imagine, with staffing and overhead, we already do a multitude of services, but we try to factor in specific amount of time that staff are spending for the animal safety net program itself. It's really interesting. The partnerships with the social service agencies have been critical, because when this first started, my staff were like trying to navigate going, what have you done to us? We're not social workers. So certainly the partnerships that we have built have been absolutely instrumental.
Did all of the grant funds go into renovation? Did MHS have to put some of their own funds in?
Yeah, so $70,000 was just to convert the garage space. We also invested in an HVAC system, which was $40,000 to keep the animals. So it's kind of complicated, but owned animals should be quarantined in their own space, so that if shelter animals come in from a variety of backgrounds and they have kennel cough or ringworm, we don't want this to go to owned animals. So we invested in a $40,000 HVAC system, and we also invested in a security camera there. And we're having to build a new garage because we do need a garage. It was a big workspace. We have a 20,000 square foot facility and 2 vehicles. So we need a new garage for that to maintain our campus.
Is this service available for those who are hospitalized and have no one to care for their pets?
We have certainly had those circumstances. We probably had, it's not the majority, but we would never turn away a person who's in a crisis temporarily, but has a long-term plan to come out of the crisis to make sure their family members stay together and reunite them.
All right. That was all these questions. I tried to get through them really quickly after because I was worried we wouldn't, but that was all the questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you very much.
All right.
And now I'd like to introduce Deb Ganley to talk to us about the Cheshire Children's Museum.
Hi, Deb. Oh. Let's see.
There we go.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm Deb Ganley, Executive Director of Cheshire Children's Museum. Tonight, I will tell you about the museum and how we can ensure that all children in our area get to experience the joy of learning through play. First, some background about the museum. After adopting a daughter from Romania and taking her to many children's museums to help with her development, we found we had to travel 1 to 2 hours away. I thought, why don't we have one of these in Keene? Through a lot of work by a lot of people, Cheshire Children's Museum opened in 2012 in the Colony Mill. Our magical environment was created where children from about 10 months of age to 10 years of age could discover, explore, and learn through the power of play. Exhibits were sponsored by local businesses. When the Colony Mill was made into apartments, we moved next door into the center at Keene, where we've been for almost 5 years. Prior to COVID, we averaged over 31,000 visitors per year. So what can children do at the museum? Well, they can increase brain development and creativity, enhance their cognitive, linguistic, and social development, improve communication, vocabulary, and language. With pretend play, they can show significant improvement in divergent thinking and problem solving. They can improve social competence, empathy, and impulse control. They can strengthen relationships with their caregivers and a whole lot more. So how do children do all this? They only know about the fun part. Well, they can ride to space or work at mission control. They can work in construction or as a vet. They can perform on stage or be a school teacher, be a farmer, run a grocery store. Toddlers can play in a safe space designed for them. They can fly a plane, drive a Jeep or boat, or pedal a train, take care of babies or be a dentist, be a firefighter on a fire truck, or learn about calling 911. Here's why I'm asking for your votes. Our goal at the museum is to ensure that all children can experience using their imaginations to learn through the power of play. We would use your donations to fund and expand our social outreach. Currently, we offer free admission to local social service agencies, including MDS, Rise for Baby and Family, Cedar Crest, MFS, HCS, and others. These visits often include developmental screenings, speech therapy, and supervised visits. Our goal is to continue and expand this program to other organizations who serve children, such as the Keene Housing Kids Collaborative, so that all children have the opportunity to play and learn at the museum. We also offer families with electronic benefit transfer cards, or EBT cards, lower admission through Museums for All. Cardholders pay $2 admission fee instead of the usual $7. Together, this is almost $15,000 for these programs. And because of the drain on our budget and limited admissions because of the pandemic, we haven't been promoting these programs because we need to sell admissions at full price to help ensure our longevity. These programs are in jeopardy just when they may be needed the most. Comments from different caregivers who come with these organizations say, "Great community opportunity. You are most appreciated and valued. Thank you for giving us a fun, educational, and safe place to take our clients. Thank you for your generosity, support, and partnership in the work we do. Many thanks for having a great space, activities, and welcoming our staff and clients. The kids love to visit. And finally, thank you for providing this wonderful space. The children we work with love this and benefit greatly from our time there." Funding from 100+ Women Who Care, Cheshire County will have a huge impact on us. Without it, we may have to limit the numbers of free or reduced admissions. With funding, we would be able to continue and expand to other organizations that work to improve the lives of young children. I know with all my heart that Cheshire Children's Museum fills a hole in our community and is a bright spot for so many children and families, especially for those who don't have a lot of privilege. For the over 31,000 people who visited in 2019, they experienced a safe, clean environment full of imagination and wonderment. No video games, no screens, no television. Just engaged children who were able to escape the outside world and use their imaginations for a few hours while playing. Please help us continue and expand that experience to all children so they can imagine a world of possibilities. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Deb, very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Courtney,
So
do we have any questions?
not yet. I'm just scrolling.
We do have one person who asked in the Q&A instead of in the chat.
Okay, good.
How many children a year do you serve, and what are your specific plans to promote your museum related to the funds you are requesting?
So we would promote it through various agencies in town. Also the office where EBT cards are offered. And we can get the word out. We just need the funds to be able to cover that. And there was the first part of the question, Brett?
The first part was how many children a year do you serve, understanding that this past year was a COVID year and might not be typical.
Yeah, this past year, 2020 was just nothing, really. We were only open for about 3 months and with very limited admissions. But it's hard because of the 31,000 visitors. We don't separate out children and adults, but of that, every adult who comes in here has to have at least one child. We don't allow adults in here by themselves. And so there's at least half of that are children and more. Many adults come with more than one child.
So we have a question. Did you apply for a PPP loan, and have you sought out other funding from COVID funds?
Yes, we applied for both PPP loans and we were successful at getting those. That helped to cover our rent mainly for the time that we were closed. And we also did receive a Gopher grant from the state of New Hampshire. And that also helped to cover our expenses. Both helped with payroll and rent, which are our two biggest expenses.
Someone had found on your website the 2015 annual report. Do you have a newer one?
Actually, we don't. We're working on it.
Okay. What is your annual operating budget and what are your other funding sources?
Our budget is about $170,000. We operate on a pretty low budget. Most of it is covered by admissions. Some grants, but by far the majority of it, and some donations as well, but the majority of it is from admissions.
And someone said, I believe that your main source of income is the businesses who sponsor exhibits. Is that true? And then you talked about the budget. They asked about the budget and how much does admissions cover?
Okay, yeah, admissions would be probably 80% at least, and then some covered by the grants and donations, including the business sponsors.
Thrilled that you are here. Are you concerned still about cover variants and taking precautions?
I think that that might be a typo. She must mean COVID.
Oh, COVID variants. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, we're concerned, and especially as we see a spike in what can happen in the future. We have a pediatrician on our board, and so she has advised us that we should continue having everyone wear a mask, which we do. And in the past, we've had people make reservations, and we have limited capacity. When we reopened in March, we started at 20 people per session, and then we went to 30, and now we're up to 40. We hope in a couple of weeks to be able to do without the reservations and just have people come in as they did before. We will continue with 2 sessions per day. Right now, we are open Wednesday mornings, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, mornings and afternoons, and we close in between and clean everything.
Great. That covered all of the questions that I saw on the chat.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right.
Yep. You should see a poll appear on your screen momentarily. You have 3 minutes to submit your choice, and don't forget to hit submit. And while you are filling out the poll, I'd like to introduce Jessica Fuller, a board member from Stonewall Farm, the organization that we chose last February, to tell us how our donations made a difference to their children's and family programs. Welcome, Jessica.
Thanks, Jane. Appreciate it. So we at Stonewall are still we're still basking in the afterglow of having received the support of 100+ Women of Cheshire County. It is such a phenomenal offer to have the backing of so many wonderful women. Thanks to your generosity, we've touched the lives of over 50+ families with the funds specifically from 100+ Women. Some highlights of where those funds have gone over the last few months. About $3,600 went to scholarships for the outdoor education and enrichment program, which is a reminder to those, or for those of you who weren't on the meeting where we were nominated. The outdoor enrichment program was a support program for children who were disrupted because of COVID during the school year. So it was sort of like an additional care program for families, which was an immense need at the time. Summer camps, about $7,700 went to some summer camp scholarships. And then we were also able to increase what we paid our staff, and we used about $4,600 to retain educators during COVID, which I think we're all well aware of the difficult hiring environment that we're in. And that was really wonderful to be able to get the talent and the educators we needed to take care of the kids and meet the need. Our summer camp is almost fully booked, which is really exciting, but I think it's also sobering because it speaks to the need for childcare in the community. Some highlights too from the camp itself, some personal stories. We provided camp scholarships to 2 children from Project Home that had to flee Mexico fairly recently. We've assisted 23 Keene housing kids with summer camp scholarships. A few personal notes, a little girl, just to give this a human aspect, a little person named Hannah who was a sweet second grader and sometimes experienced anxiety and was struggling to get work home done on remote learning days, began attending outdoor enrichment education support in March. With the assistance of the grant from 100+ Women Who Care, she flourished in the program, working hard on her homework, making new friends, enjoying activities out in nature. And she especially enjoyed spending time with the chickens and collecting their eggs and to sell them at the farm store. And there's a myriad of other wonderful stories about children who did so well with the program over the last few months. But keeping in mind, I talked last time too about the magic of Stonewall. So these children are having these wonderful experiences, getting great care and support, while they're doing this alongside our the innovation that we're doing in the regenerative space. And that includes our work with the New England Healthy Soil Network, our farmer incubator program, and just the general preservation of a working dairy farm. So some quick notes too, if it's okay for me to mention this, Jane. We'd love to see some of you at our community night market, which is on Fridays during the summer from 4 to 7. And that presents an opportunity for farmers and artisans and health-related services to share their wares. And then also going on Sue's suggestion for mentioning volunteer opportunities. So considering the talent pool that I'm in front of right now with the 100+ Women, we would be delighted if any of you wanted to share that talent by joining one of our committees. Particularly, we are looking for folks to join the fundraising committee. Or if you have a talent that you would like to share, teaching a class too would be a great opportunity. So if you're interested, just give the farm a call, press 1 for the executive director, Julie. But we just can't thank you enough. Your support is incredible, and it's really just, it's given us what we need to keep going, and we're super excited to keep serving the community. So thank you so much.
Well, I know I speak for the whole membership when I tell you that you are more than welcome. We were just absolutely delighted to support the work that you do, and really appreciate you fleshing out a little bit how that was used.
Thank you, Jane.
So
I appreciate it. We all appreciate it.
So in a moment, Courtney will now announce the organization you've chosen this evening. Depending on which organization is chosen, you may have an option of either making an online donation or writing a check and sending the check to me. If you make an online donation, please know that most organizations will be charged a service fee, typically around 3% of the donation, although this does vary from organization to organization. So for example, a $50 donation online, the organization nets $48.50 in that example. Many of our members have added that fee onto their donation, which gives the organization the benefit of the full $50 donation. If it's available, kindly make a note on the instructions portion of the donation form on the website that you are a 100+ Woman member, but we will work closely with the organizations to identify our members as opposed to other donors that are using that platform. A link to the online donation page of the chosen organization, if it's available, will be in tomorrow's email that goes out to all members announcing which organization was chosen this evening. If you choose to send a check, please make it out to the selected organization, not to 100+ Women, and mail it to me. And you'll see my address on the screen shortly, or you can find it on our website. We will deliver the donations. And I remind you that all of the nominations are 501c3 organizations. Normally, I now remind you that the recipient organization is required to agree not to add you to any of their mailing lists, though they will get your contact information in order to acknowledge your gift. If they violate that agreement, they will not be considered for a future gift from us ever. That rule still applies, but just know that there might be a little fuzziness if the organization is not 100% sure that you are donating through 100+ Women. And if that happens, if you suspect that happens, let us know and we will clearly and quickly straighten that out. And just a reminder, you are most welcome to make your donation for any amount greater than $50 if you choose to do so. And you can always write a check to one or both of the organizations that presented but are not selected this evening, in addition to your check to the one that is selected tonight. And at some meetings, there were also checks written to organizations who were nominated but not even chosen to present. So I just can't say it enough. You are truly, truly generous women. So I remind you, mark your calendars for November 1st. And now, Courtney, the honored organization this evening is?
Planned Parenthood of Northern New England. And please write in the memo, Keene Health Center 100+.
Okay, could you say that one more time, Courtney, please?
Yes, so checks should be made out to Planned Parenthood, and Brett is putting it up right now.
Oh,
Planned
great.
Parenthood of Northern New England with the memo Keene Health Center 100+, or Keene Health Center WWC.
Wonderful. Congratulations to Planned Parenthood of Northern New England. And thank you to our other two presenters, the Humane Society and the Children's Museum this evening. Worthy organizations, all three, for sure. So mark your calendars, like I said, for November 1st, and we will see you then. And we are now finishing at 6:56. We've got 4 minutes in the bank. Have a great rest of your summer, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. I'll leave this up a bit for anyone who's writing this down because it's a little bit more complicated than our normal check writing.
Right. And we'll stay for if you have any questions on the chat, if anybody has any other questions relative to what we've done tonight, we'll stay for a few minutes to look at those and answer them.
And if anyone was planning to donate online, they just ask that you, in the section where you say you can make it an honorary gift, that you list the Keene Health Center 100+ or Keene Health Center WWC would be the honorary gift. It's kind of an honor of, that's their way of tracking.
Okay.
If there's anyone who's still here that is thinking of donating online rather than via check.
And that information will go out in tomorrow's email as well.
It'll be on our website as well.
So it's always fun to see the names on the list of people as they sign in and join our meeting, and hard to say goodbye because they're one by one leaving us for the evening. But thanks again to everybody who came. What did we have? How many did we have all together this evening? Over 60, I think.
62, I saw total.
Okay, great.
So that includes some of our guests as
I
well
did.
as our members.
All right, I'm going to stop recording the meeting.